What's up, guys? We are back. This is The Real Deal with Casey and Jason, where we talk real life, real experiences, and occasionally real estate.
It's been a real long time.
It's been a really long time. And we finally broke the silence today, unofficially.
August 8th.
On August 8th.
Mark it down. Put it in your calendars.
I put a story out, tagged you in it.
You did.
Because people have been asking us, where is The Real Deal? We're missing our Friday morning podcast, and we need you guys to get on it. So we've been away for a little bit. We've had a lot of stuff going on, a ton of stuff. So we'll kind of just go through the timeline real quick for you guys and let you know where we've been, fill you in on the new ventures that we're all on.
Yeah, new ventures, new venues.
New venues for sure, which is cause of the delay here in the podcast.
It is.
So we initially started recording in my office there in Chesapeake City. Jumped over to your office in Chesapeake City, and then you switched offices.
I switched offices.
So you're now with
Remax,
and we're back, or I shouldn't say back. We are in the new office location on Augustine Herman Highway.
Same street, same town.
213. As you can see in our background, guys, this is like,
bare bones.
I kind of like it. It's kind of metaphorical, I think, to fresh beginnings that we're both going through. So you switched to Remax. We're here in the new office set up. So this will be the new home. Maybe not this desk in particular, but this will be the new home of The Real Deal with Casey and Jason.
It will.
And I also recently switched companies. So we closed the office in Chesapeake City when I was with the prior company at Nations, and then I switched companies to U Mortgage. So big move there. I'm 100% remote. So
that's cool.
Yeah, so I'm working 100% of the time in my spare bedroom.
Nice.
With my kids.
Yeah.
Beating on the door most of the time.
I see you're getting a lot of time with the family. That's cool.
Yeah. So I think that's my perspective that I'm having on it is just trying to enjoy the time with the family and not get annoyed when I'm trying to get something done and they're there, because I'm like, man, this is such a short window with the kids and they're going to grow up, and then pretty soon they might not care if I'm home or not. But right now, Claire even said the other day, she's like, Dad, it's really cool that you're here during the day. Yeah. And I'm like, that is cool, and Danielle's like, it's cool that you get to have dinner with us every night, because when I worked at the office, I would get stuck there. I would miss dinner a couple nights a week. Right. So now it's like I just come downstairs at, whatever time and have dinner with the family. So it's pretty sweet.
It's awesome, man. I think it's easy to, like it kind of seemed like, you could treat that as almost like when your kids are banging on your door, like it's an annoyance, but it's something to be grateful for. Yeah.
It is annoying, but also something to be grateful for.
Not everybody has that luxury.
Yeah. Exactly. You're right. And, I think back too to before I jumped into the mortgage business, when I was driving to 202 every day, and I didn't see, so that was one of my biggest catalysts for moving, is that I didn't see Clara hardly at all, because I would get up and leave at like 6:30 in the morning, and then I would get home at maybe 6 or 6:30, and she was 1, so she would wake up a little bit after me. She would go to bed before I got home. So yeah, like I'm lucky that I get to see them. It's cool to just sit there and look out the window and see them out on the play set, just
that is cool,
swinging or doing whatever, running in and out of the house, or like playing in the hose out in the yard, just stuff like that. It's really cool to be able to see that and experience that. Kind of a weird thing, because you're looking through a lens almost at your family, and you're not like in the picture, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, there's kind of some separation there.
Yeah,
like it's your work day.
Yeah,
and they're doing their thing.
Yeah. But it like that perspective of like watching them do their thing, but not being there with them, it's it gives you some good perspective of it's a weird feeling. It's almost like if you weren't there, like what would their lives look like? You're kind of like watching them go about their lives without you in it. Now, but I am there. Yeah.
How much are you like actually active with them during the day?
So I have breakfast with them, at whatever, 8 o'clock, 8:30. And then I usually go up to the office, and then they pop in at least twice, I would say, in the morning. And then I'll go down for lunch, hang out with them for lunch, lunchtime at around 12. Afternoon, same thing. They'll pop in at least once or twice. Yeah. Want to show me something, or, I'll have to poke my head out of the room and be like, hey guys, I'm on a call. I need you to like bring the volume down. So I would say like I get 5 or 6 interactions throughout the day with them, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I mean, working from home for me has always been difficult. Like even when it's just me and my dog, it's so hard for me to stay focused. And like, it sounds like you kind of confine yourself for the most part to a room.
Yeah, I try to make it almost like an office setting because I've always been the kind that I like to go to the office because like when you sit down at your desk, you're in your space is set up for you to work and be effective.
Yeah.
And the home office thing has always been for me like, weekend, somebody needs a pre-approval. I'll pop in there, open the computer up and do what I need to do. But to sit there and, for an extended period of time, I try to like just create that, separation of like, this is my office workspace so that I can be effective. But it's a work in progress. I'll tell you that. I have a lot more respect for people that do work from home full time after doing it.
Yeah.
And then just trying to just be effective, and like, it's so easy to get distracted. Yeah. Like walk downstairs, get something to eat, get something to drink.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I get so hungry during the day, you just want to walk down there, but it's been a good move. Do you want to get into the move you made and like it's like you got a new title, right?
Yeah. So I changed brokerages. Like I said, I'm now with RE/MAX Chesapeake, and that was not an easy decision. Like I miss everybody back at my other brokerage, and I tend to feel things really hard for whatever reason. I think leaving anything in any capacity, it's always been difficult for me. So that wasn't an easy phone call to make when I left Caldwell. And it wasn't really, it was an easy transition from a standpoint of I know my current broker. I'm still in Chesapeake City, things like that. Like it really wasn't like that big of a change, but I don't like knowing that when I leave, it leaves a hole somewhere.
Yeah.
So that was tough, but yeah, I've been over here for, I don't know, it's been about a month, and got a couple agents with us now. It's a really, really good setup. It's it feels like me. And I did get my broker's license, so I am an associate broker with RE/MAX Chesapeake here in Chesapeake City. So still an agent, doesn't really change a whole lot, just gives me an opportunity to be a broker, own a brokerage down the line.
Yeah, love it. So, to me from the outside looking in, I think it was a good move for you and a move in the right direction of where, your bigger vision is maybe.
Yeah, I want to build something, and as an agent, I just felt like that was difficult to do. And I've had this conversation before. I love selling real estate. I love helping people, but I don't think as an agent I was ever really going to be able to build the wealth and acquire. I want to have rental properties, and I want to employ agents, and I want to give other people opportunities to make a really good living. So I didn't. Clearly I couldn't do that just being a real estate agent, without my broker's license. So really just an opportunity for growth, for sure.
Yeah. And I feel the exact same way about the move I made. So, part of it is that I feel like maybe I couldn't fulfill my full potential being just a loan officer, and making the move over, I'm able to, build a team, which is something I've always wanted to do. I had a big part in building a team, prior at Nations, but in the sales manager capacity, not a branch manager, which is similar to like a broker in the real estate world. So I felt like it was same for me, like a good move in the right direction, be able to build a team out, have a little bit more, a little bit more control over the team in a way, but just be a leader, and have that opportunity. So I've been impressed so far with the company. Again, it wasn't easy for me either. The decision to move companies. I'd been with Nations and the group of guys I worked with forever, like had very, very tight ties with them. They're like brothers to me. One of them is my brother, but the other guys are like brothers to me, and I've known them forever. And it was not easy to make that decision to leave.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I felt it was right. And I felt that, we're faced with stuff like that a lot of times in life where you have a tough decision that might be in front of you, and maybe in your mind, you're like, this is the right decision, but it's going to be hard. And I think a lot of times that hard decision is the right one, and it doesn't make it any easier to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, I think that's really true, man. The hard decisions are typically the ones that give you the most on the other side.
Yeah.
And living in, everybody, you always hear, living in your comfort zone doesn't really provide you kind of the upside that you're capable of. I know I didn't say that very professionally, but you know what I mean? Like, making those hard decisions can really, really show you what you're made of and help you do some pretty incredible things.
It definitely stretches you.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of that, you kind of realize that you have more capacity or you have more capability. Whereas if you do stay in, your lane and your comfort zone, you're not challenged the same way. It's goes with a lot of different things, but
well, and you had, I believe I did too, but I'm sure you had a good support system around you. It wasn't a decision that you made on a whim, probably. You probably talked it over with friends and family, and that probably made you feel good about it. I think sometimes that can actually be, I don't want to say the wrong thing to do, but like sometimes there's people in your life that, and we've talked about this before, that'll tell you not to do something, maybe because they live in their comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I know you've got a lot of strong people in your life that are encouraging you to do difficult things.
Yeah, I do. And I think it definitely helps and hurts depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that I do have a very close, knit group around me. You being one of the people that, is supportive of like, hey, make that difficult decision. But, Danielle certainly was on board with it. It feels weird, doesn't it? Like even going through that process of, and I didn't honestly have a lot of conversations like that because I didn't like the feeling of, I've never talked to recruiters. I've never really entertained any other options. So as soon as I did like open my mind to that, I kind of felt, I didn't like the feeling. I wanted to get out of that feeling as soon as possible and just make the move once I decided that I was going to move on. But yeah, having a strong support system around me definitely helped with that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not easy to make the hard decision, but a lot of times the hard decision is the right one.
Well, and I think you probably had a feeling that even though you might have been thinking about it for a while, you probably knew ultimately what the right decision was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's, on the other side of this. So for anybody listening, if you're looking at this, like, because I've been guilty of this on the outside, and even to be completely honest with looking at you and your situation from the outside, I'm like, and this is a good thing, but like, damn, he's pushing the limits, right? So that encouraged me to be like, all right, well, if he's making a move and he can do it and he's moving into it, but like anybody out there, don't mistake our moves as like full confidence, unwavering.
No.
Like just hammer down and go and like, we have one like thing on our mind, because sometimes I wish I was like that, but I'm really not. No,
me either. I think I put off getting my broker's license for probably a few years, and like, it takes me a lot of time. I wish I wasn't like that also. It takes me a lot of time to make those calculated decisions. I know that I need a decision-making framework. I know that like that stuff exists, and like Alex Hormozy talks about it a lot. Like for big decisions, does it check this box, and this box? Well, okay, yes, then it's the right decision. But that's really hard for me to do.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to remove the emotion from the decision.
Yeah. He said something I just heard somebody sent me, that he said, if you were coaching you, what would you tell yourself? And like remove yourself, and this goes out there to anybody, but if you can remove yourself from the situation and kind of view it from above, and if you were sitting down with yourself having coffee or whatever, and you were like explaining the situation to yourself, and you were having to give yourself advice, what would you say?
Yeah.
And most of the time, the advice that you would give yourself is not what you're doing.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, and I was like, man, that's a good point. Like if I was talking to myself, I'd be like, yeah, dude, you have to, it's the time, make the move. It's going to be a step in the right direction. But that emotion thing, man, it really does get to you.
Yeah, it really gets to me.
But anyway, that's the scoop, guys. That's what we, have been up to. That's why we haven't brought you an episode here recently. But we wanted to fill you in on that, the new ventures. Simultaneously, you've also been taking on clients left and right with your training business.
Yeah, with I don't know if I mentioned the name of the company last time, but the official name of my training company is Authentic Athletic Group.
I did not know that.
Yep. I haven't really put that out there. Like I've.
Well, now you have.
Right. Like I haven't marketed. I really haven't marketed anything.
Yeah.
Aside from posting some videos on Instagram and whatnot of some me doing some stuff and some clients doing some stuff. But it's an ATG based training business. I model my training methods after the knees over toes guy. Ben Patrick, also known as the knees over toes guy.
Yeah,
he's just his program's incredible. I think he's an incredible person, and it's really full range of motion training, training joints and muscles through a full and usually a loaded full range of motion. We're actually putting muscles like hip flexors in a what most people would consider a compromising position, but actually a position where you can really lengthen and strengthen them and ultimately make your body feel better. So I've got clients that range in age from, I think, 15 to 67.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're all doing similar stuff. Like ATG is pretty remarkable that every exercise can be scaled to a pain-free entry point. Mm-hmm. So, my 18-year-old Division III football player might be walking backwards, pulling a sled that's got 100 pounds on it, but, we can also do that same exercise regressed, which is just walking backwards on a treadmill. So,
yep.
It's pretty cool stuff, and yeah, I've been able to get some clients along the way. Been pretty fortunate because I know a lot of people that are in the fitness community.
Yeah.
So
I've also signed up on the ATG app.
Yeah.
So I've been working on
How's
the program.
that going?
It's going great. So this is week 7 I'm in, and I'm sure I heard this in the training program and like the YouTube videos, and I know I've heard it from you, but you explained it perfectly. It's like, to me anyway, to understand it, because I don't really know what I'm doing, but like strength through range of motion.
Yeah, strength through length. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like a great a way that I can understand it. And if you think about anybody out there, your shoulders, knees, hips,
ankles,
lower
back, yeah,
back especially. For me, right, you're putting weight in a position that you normally wouldn't have weight in.
Yeah.
Which
and a lot of those areas of the body, especially the back, they're stigmatized with avoidance. Like if you've got back problems, then you should absolutely avoid all. Well, it's just wrong.
It's bad information.
It's just wrong.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're going to get on a back extension machine and load a barbell up with 135 pounds and go, but you can certainly start on a back extension with your body just in a static 30-second hold to start working those muscles, because lack of range of motion and pain are usually the result of weakness.
Yeah, and how else are you going to strengthen your body in those positions when you avoid working in those positions?
Yep.
It's funny, and this ties right in. This kind of like makes sense to me now. A light bulb went off, but I always have gotten the question, and I got it again this past weekend, constantly though, because I was a catcher. Mm-hmm. People are always, every time I say I was a catcher, they're like, "Oh, how are your knees?
Knees must be bad.
Your knees must be terrible." And I'm like, "No, I have great knees. Like honestly, I do. I have no issues whatsoever with my knees. I never have. I don't expect to have any. Like my knees are solid." And I'm thinking like, after this ATG program and some of the stuff you do there with the split squats, I'm like, it kind of makes sense that I have good knees because I was crouching down in this full range of motion constantly.
Yep.
Like slow, decelerating and then accelerating up. So I think all the muscles around my knee from that are like stronger, and more flexible. And
in the same breath, you get people that say, I can't squat because my knees hurt. It's like, well, it's actually the reason that you should squat.
Yeah,
it's in some capacity, right? And there are ways to. That's probably not where you begin on your journey, right? There's the kind of knee ability zero formula in Ben's program is step up, split squat, and then squat. So once you can get through those first 2 exercises at a pain-free level, they kind of prime you for a full range of motion, deep squat. I mean, when you squat in the ATG program, it is, your bottom of your glute, your hamstring is supposed to, touch your Achilles tendon effectively. You're making complete contact, upper leg, on the posterior with your hamstring to your lower leg with your calf muscle.
Yeah.
And if you have bad knees, it's a reason to squat.
Yeah. And that's a position that most people probably haven't been in years.
Yeah.
Since they were children. And we kind of go back to a way prior episode we did, but with talking to Dean, like if you watch kids, their bodies move naturally in a way that the human body is designed to move.
Dude, I was at a 1-year-old's birthday party this weekend.
And you were just observing.
The kids were like studs, all of them. Yeah, they all, you know, I think there was probably kids there like age, you know, a few months to 8, and all of them, I mean, just incredible squat form. Like some of them were doing some serious stuff, you know, that I like try to do in the gym as an adult, you know, like they call it a sissy squat, kind of like a, you know, you're dropping your knees to the floor. It's hard for me to demonstrate it this way, but it's a sissy squat, and it is ridiculously hard to do, and they're doing it with ease. Yeah,
it's incredible. And you know, it's funny, like the ATG buddies, right? So they sell them for anybody out there. It elevates your heel so that you can get deeper into a squat.
Yep.
Which, again, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm pretty flexible. I thought I could do it. I sent in my form. They critique you, which is really helpful.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and these they're sharp, and they're like, you know, hey, you got to get deeper in your squat. I'm like, that's like as deep as I felt like I could go. They're like, try the ATG buddies, and I did, and I'm able to go all the way down. But it's funny because I'll like the kids are like, what are these for? And my kids are like, I'm like, so I can go all the way down. Like, oh, like this, and they just drop down
right away
to the floor, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. That's what I'm trying to get back to. So, but body feels good. I don't have any like when I lift weights, I always like feel like I tweak something. Mm-hmm. This program, because you're not using really heavy weight, or I'm not at least yet.
Yeah.
High rep ranges for some of these movements, like
and it's not like at least me. There are certain days where I leave pretty sweaty, but overall it's just training your body to perform better, and that doesn't require, you know, 20 minutes of box jumps and burpees and all that stuff, which is going to sweat you to death, and really, you know, in my opinion, it could do more harm than good to your joints. You know, a lot of times you're just in a really slow eccentric part of the movement, right? So like in a squat, really slow on the way down with a pause and then driving back up. You know, 5 sets, 5 reps, or 3 sets, 10 reps, whatever. But yeah, you're not really loading yourself. You can certainly load yourself up with weight, but generally, it's not something that that crushes you.
No, it's really not. And it actually was a little bit of a mind shift for me because I've always been like, not always, but more recently, you know, I kind of feel like I need to work hard lifting weights to get like a result, but it really is not the
misnomer kind of.
No, but this is like, I mean, today, for example, I did whatever. It was a chest and back day. So I'm, you know, literally have like 10 and 15 pound dumbbells doing, you know, flies and then reverse flies and 20 reps. I'm like I'm on fire. Like, I can't move my arms.
Yeah, if you do things through a full range of motion the right way, you'll definitely feel it.
It's insane. Whereas like, and you know, before like even like the chest press in there, like I'm like, oh, I got 80 pound dumbbells. Like, let me get these things. Like I can muscle them up. And my form was terrible. And they're like, yeah, like drop the weight down, big boy. Like slow down a little bit. So then when you do that and you pause at the bottom and, you know, in this like position where you're fully stretched with your chest. And then you're trying to go back up. Like, dude, I'm cooked after, you know, 5-6 reps.
Yeah. A lot of
lighter weight.
A lot of what they do with the upper body is in a neutral grip. So like a traditional bench press, you know, palms out, neutral grip, you know, palms facing one another. And that allows you to get deeper, which is better for your shoulders. And if you're training that full range of motion, man, it's tough.
You feel it 100%. And I do feel muscle soreness, but I'm not like dead. Like if I go and lift, you know, if I put a barbell and bench, you know, I'll be extremely sore. It's not really like that, but definitely a good workout. You know, I'm really liking it, mixing it in. I'm just recently. So I have a friend doing 75 hard and I wanted to, you know, I've been rucking for, I don't know, a couple months now, with like 40 pounds in my back. And I'm like, well, he's doing 75 hard. I feel like I should challenge myself. So I threw like a couple more weights in there from the weighted vest. And I walked the first day and I'm like, I don't know what I have in here, but it's like, it's killer. Like it is killing me. So I weighed the back at 70 pounds.
Good Lord.
And I'm like walking with it and I'm like, well, I can't take weight out of here. So I'm like, dude, as long as you're doing 75 hard, if you don't quit, I'll freaking put this thing on and I'll walk every day. So I've been doing that as like my my morning walk. So I do like 2.5 miles like that.
And you need new shoes apparently.
I do. I wore right through.
How did that happen?
It's just over time, dude. I just wore like, straight through the sole.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
I literally took the shoe's sole.
It looks like you put like a a hot piece of rebar through it.
Yeah.
There's a hole in your shoe.
Straight through. You could literally see daylight. So, it's, obviously got worse over time. Like, the outer layer wore down and then so on and so on. But I guess it was just the impact of like on the heel walking.
Dude, that's remarkable.
Yeah. Like literally, there's like 7 layers of this thing too. I'm like,
I know. I'm like, it's like a pretty
looks like a rainbow almost, like just slices
a pretty pronounced spot. I'm like, how does this guy walking? Like, I have no idea.
The crazy thing is, I don't feel the impact where the hole is, because there's still like enough sole around the outside that catches but apparently, so I got new shoes ordered. They should be here any day.
Proud of you.
Thank God, because it's getting a little rough down there. But
yeah, I saw that and I was like, that can't be right.
Yeah,
but it was.
If I'm not in pain yet, I will be soon.
Yeah,
the foot was getting a little wet walking, but I like the program. It's cool to hear and see you with the training thing. Guys, we don't really have a ton today to cover, other than we just wanted to give you the update, let you know where we are. How to find us, pretty much the same way. Shoot us a message. But I will say thank you to all those who reached out and asked where the podcast was.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That holds us accountable, and it shows that we have people that are, in our corner and have our backs, whether you've been on the show or not. Just the fact that you reached out and said, like, hey, guys, like, we need an episode.
What's up?
It's cool to have that, that accountability in your life. And, it pushes us to be better. Like I was talking about earlier with you, seeing you make moves, it made me have more confidence to make a move. And hopefully we can be that to somebody. If somebody's out there facing a tough decision and you're thinking like, this is a hard decision in front of me, but I know it's the right one. It's not going to be easy, I'll tell you that. But it might be the right decision. If in your heart it's the right decision, then
that's my advice.
Yeah.
That's my best advice. I was literally just thinking, what would my best advice be? And you just said it. It's like deep down, I think we always know. But we're looking for, it's almost like we're looking for somebody to tell us the opposite.
Yeah.
We're looking for somebody to tell, oh, that's not a good idea. You should stay. And then you kind of like, all right, cool. I can stay in my comfort zone.
Yeah.
You kind of relax. And then almost like if you don't do it, you can kind of point the finger at that person, or maybe you don't call them out, but it's like, oh yeah, I talked to a lot of people, and it's like,
yeah, you take a poll almost of the people outside for permission
to
do something that is right.
Yeah.
Funny enough, on the same topic, the podcast I was listening to today, Hormozy was talking about this, and he said he was faced with a tough decision, and in his mind popped the person that he knew would judge him for making that decision because it wasn't the right thing, whatever, according to that person. Mm-hmm. And he said, I wrote the guy's name down, and then he's like, am I going to let this name on this paper affect and dictate the decision that I make in the rest of my life and where I go?
Right.
So, and obviously he didn't. And I don't think anybody should. Like, at the end of the day, that person that's going to critique you or whatever, they're not even thinking about you.
No.
You're thinking about them. So, don't do anything irresponsible, but, make a decision that you feel is right in your heart. And I think, when you get through the bumps and bruises that it takes to get there, I'm hopeful that we all see that bigger, better thing on the other side of it.
Yeah, I think intention is a big word that we can kind of pair with don't do anything irresponsible. You know what I mean? If your intentions are in the right spot, and you really have conviction and you feel it in your heart, then it's probably the right thing to do.
Yeah, I think so. So, guys, we will wrap it up there. Thank you again so much for listening to the show. Please stay in touch with us. Send us some messages. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. And, we look forward to bringing you more episodes here from the new home.
For sure.
Of The Real Deal with Casey and Jason. Appreciate you guys.
See ya.